freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, Dan and Cheryl Todd here, coming to you from the 2026 SHOT Show in fabulous Las Vegas. We are so excited to be interviewing people that have come from all over the nation, really all over the world, to this amazing event every year. And today, right now, we have got our amazing friend, Patricia Harrold. She is a Nebraska Firearms Freedom Advocate, president of Nebraska Firearms Owners Association, and the Women for Gun Rights State Director, the founder of Incendio LLC. She's a trainer and a conference speaker and an amazing friend and all wonderful things.
All the things.
Welcome to Gun Freedom Radio, Patricia.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Me too. And I know that this year you are presenting at SHOT Show. That's a huge deal. This is your first time doing that?
Absolutely. First time coming to SHOT Show, first time speaking it, and I am so excited about my topic. So
what is your topic?
So it's all about collaboration, so coalitions. Like when we think about all the work that we have to do, whether it's industry, training, advocacy, legislation, promoting safety, promoting our traditions, the more we can break down barriers and like remove silos where we have to like, oh, we won this, we did this, break that all apart, let's join forces and you can make great things happen. And it's an example of what we did in Nebraska.
I just absolutely love that because so often I don't think we're so busy just doing the work we do.
Absolutely.
As advocates, as trainers, as people who are just in this industry. I don't think we realize top of mind that others are watching, and that makes us, what's the word? What are we? Not just advocates, but
we're examples, we're mentors, we're champions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we're sort of that gateway for people. Mm-hmm. And so I think to be ever mindful of how we are presenting ourselves and being with Gun Freedom Radio, our whole purpose was to reach the middle space.
Yes.
People who hadn't quite decided, what do I think about all this gun stuff?
Yeah. My own journey, right? I was not born and raised a gun owner. I became a gun owner, in my mid-30s. And it was a brand new world. Yes, yesterday. And it was daunting, it was overwhelming, but I will tell you, certain individuals took me under their wing. And those people remain in my heart to this day. And I like to mirror myself and what I do under that kind of way of approaching people, meeting them where they're at, and sharing the journey with them, right? And it's a beautiful thing that we can do.
Well, Patricia, what made you wake up one morning and say, I want to learn about firearms?
Well, it wasn't a very happy story. It was a sad story. And I will tell you that, you find yourself without your husband. He's gone. Unforeseen, unexpected events. And you wake up one morning and you realize you're mama bear and you got 2 young children and you have new responsibilities. And so that began my journey into like safety and security. And it just evolved where the firearm became another tool in my toolkit. And I wanted to be informed and educated and safe with my firearm. And again, some people took me under their wing and showed me the ropes. And all of a sudden I found something that I was good at. And the more I worked with it, the better I got. And it's become transformative. And so I'm not a survivor, I'm a thriver, is what I call it. And it's been a great journey.
And so now you're teaching people that not necessarily are victims and not necessarily had a tragedy in their life before that to enjoy the security of owning firearms.
I love to talk with what I call the gun curious.
Yes.
They just have a tiny little seed of curiosity. And there is, something about being genuine and transparent, vulnerable,
Yes.
authentic in yourself,
Yes.
that really helps those conversations.
Yes.
And so I look at myself as an ambassador to bring new
the
people
word.
in to our community. And what I love, the benefit of it, is every day I go home from these moments knowing that I've touched their lives. I'm like a little pebble in their pond.
Awesome.
And the ripples are going to just continue to move on.
That's fantastic.
That is so beautifully said and such a great illustration. And I mean, the work is so important. You are actually changing the trajectory of people's lives and saving lives that we can't even know about.
Correct.
Because the mere presence of a trained and prepared individual in any setting, you can feel it.
It is absolutely the game changer. And when I think about how that then transforms their lives, you said that. It's not just about the firearm safety and what have you. My own journey, I tied to my firearm journey. I am now an executive with my corporation. I oversee multi-million-dollar contracts with the U.S. military. Wow. The belief in myself, the ability to take risks and know that I can do it, to face those unknowns, to have the courage, and to enjoy the process, all through my gun journey. I put it all at its feet. Yeah.
You know, I've often said, so when we are taking our children to the range, right, and we're showing them how to safely interact with firearms and taking them out hunting and showing them how do you put food on the table, things like that. We're not just teaching them the mechanics of keep your finger off the trigger and, know what's beyond your target. We're not just teaching them that. We're teaching them self-reliance. We're teaching them the responsibility for their own actions.
Absolutely.
And it just goes on and on. And so when I think about it in terms of like a parent-child type situation, and then I go, it's not just that.
No, 100%.
It is peer-to-peer. It is adult to adult, right?
Absolutely. My children, who are now young adults, I admire their journey and their growth and their participation in the firearm and shooting sports. And when I sent my daughter to college this year,
oh my gosh,
I did so without fear. I said, oh, watch out, school. Here comes my girl. Because while she can't be armed, on campus, she's armed with presence. She's armed with situational awareness. She's armed with poise and courage. And she feels comfortable in her own skin. And so none of the peer pressure things, the things that we as parents worry about, I don't worry about because I've equipped her with that confidence through this journey.
I think so often it has to do with if you know your why.
Yes.
Right? About anything. I was reading an article recently about, Christian kids. The dad was a pastor, and he raised these two kids, and they always were, Christian camp and doing all the Christian things. Sent them off to college in one lecture with a teacher that basically challenged
their belief system.
Why do you believe what you believe?
Yeah.
The whole thing crumbled.
It does.
Because for whatever reason, we think maybe we're infusing things into our kids, but you've been so purposeful about it so that she isn't going to face that when people are like, well, why are you a gun owner? Or why do you believe in the Second Amendment? She's going to know her why.
So the biggest thing I like to say to that point is there's a difference between institutionalizing and allowing for experiential learning. So her journey was her own, right? So I put forward the opportunities, the tools, the resources, the connections, but I didn't hover and I didn't institutionalize. And so her ahas are her own, right? So it's not because mom said so. It's not because mom is this firearm instructor. She came to it in her own way. And the beauty of it, she expresses it her own way. It's different than mine. My son is the same way. But they have their own belief system that is tied to the root that I planted, but their tree is their own.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. So you are building the next generation of 2A advocates. And, when we talk about, in my notes, I wrote down that promoting the average gun owner, that image is everything. And we've touched on that. But can you take us just a little bit deeper about what do you mean by that? Does it matter like I say, polka dots are my camo.
Absolutely.
Because that's genuine to me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
If I ran around in normal camo, I think people would be able to sense that there's something maybe just a little bit
disingenuous,
like not
maybe?
full.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So you are a perfect example of what I mean by that. So within our world, we are as diverse as the rest of humanity. And so what I like to advocate is for all of us to put forward what we look like while we're doing our activities. I like to make a joke when I teach my advanced defensive pistol class. Yes, I'm a 51-year-old chubby lady, and for the 20 seconds I need these skills, I'm going to be amazing. Afterwards, when I've survived, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to catch my breath.
Yes.
And so you don't have to be super fit necessarily.
Right.
You can pursue the joy of shooting as well. So it's not even just from a personal defense perspective. I've decided to go and do a 3-gun competition. I'm terrified, but I'm excited. And these stretches are just wonderful experiences to meet people like you and, just create this greater family.
I just absolutely love that. So with Women for Gun Rights, I'm a state director in Arizona, you're a state director in your state, and you're also the president of the Nebraska Firearms Owners Association. These are where we touch legislators. This is where we impact the people that they might think they're doing a good thing with some of the laws they propose, but we're there to help advise them if they'll let us.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's even people that you would think might be pro-rights that really, they write some lulus of laws.
Sure.
How do you enact that piece of advocacy and impacting your legislature in Nebraska?
So I make it known that I'm their helper.
Yes.
Right. So all of us have various levels of expertise in various subject matters, and they have legislation on so many different topics: economics, agriculture, healthcare, what have you. To expect that an elected representative is going to have the depth and breadth for all of those subjects is just impossible. And so we advocate for creating a relationship with them, whether they're pro or not, to educate them, provide them resources and information. We're very unbiased. We are not dictators in our sense of our approach, and we create a relationship. And so what we have found is that the Second Amendment truly is for everyone. We've advocated for suicide prevention legislation in our state. We're advocating for different education opportunities within our school systems. And if we take steps towards one another, we can find that common ground. And by doing so in a way that helps them do their job better, representing their people, we all win.
Gosh, so well said. I think my last question is just kind of like crafting, that we really do agree on so much with the people that we disagree with on certain things. Something like red flag laws. These are something that they might sound good.
Sure.
Right? Let's make sure that, domestic abusers don't have ready access to a firearm, or someone with some mental health issues. And so it seems like, and even way back, President Trump himself was very pragmatic while he was in a room full of parents who had just lost children in a horrible school shooting. And he was like, well, let's take the guns first and deal with due process later. It sounds like it makes sense, but it's a complete abomination when it comes to our rights and when it comes to due process. How do we message better to people who mean so well, but they're on the wrong pathway with their thought process?
I think we can do a better job of not responding to the crisis ourselves, right? And so when I think about all the legislation that pops up, call it pop-up legislation, there's this incredible sense of urgency, a desperation, and I understand it. I felt desperate. I felt urgent. But what I found is when I take steps back and be pragmatic and look at the longer term implications of whatever decision I'm making, I can make a better and more sound decision. And so we, as the Second Amendment advocacy group, can be more proactive potentially in going, let's go do more deeper root cause analysis of what's going on with domestic violence, with school shootings. But we have to have good data. And one of the challenges that we face on both sides is just a proliferation of a lot of massaged, crafted, exclusive data that doesn't help drive good decision making. So I hope as an industry and as a community, we can further make sure facts are shared consistently. We have to change hearts and minds before crisis to help them make a better decision.
I think that's really the way to go about it. And when we are sharing facts, sometimes I think we can overload people with too many facts.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
Because we're like, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to that. And
Me
it's
too.
like, oh, and another thing. And then how about this thing? And then there was and it's like, okay, take a breath.
Yeah.
Make sure you're really having a conversation.
Absolutely.
And you're not just talking at a person. Do you agree?
Absolutely. So my areas of expertise is training. So cognitive overload is a thing. And you have to have what I call just-in-time learning and nuggets of learning, because it takes several iterations for information to be absorbed, comprehended, and then transferred to the person so that it becomes their body of knowledge, not just yours. And so education, 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 a consistency, an application of effort. We just can't stop. It's not a fire hose. It's a nice stream of good information, and you guys in Gun Freedom Radio are doing that, which is fantastic, because what we do here today in this interview and what you're going to do with several others are going to plant seeds for others to like be inspired to go do great things.
Well, I just want to comment on, talking to your legislatures, going to the meetings and talking with them. I used to want to just go and say how stupid they were.
Sure.
But that doesn't win. What you have to do is you have to go in there. I understand what you're thinking, but we really need to look at this. Is it the firearm that's the problem, or is it the person?
Sure.
And if you take the firearms away, then what about the knives in the drawer? Or what about the car? So we have to look at that and say, it's not the firearm, and try to convince them that that's not going to solve the problem.
Absolutely. When you think about it, though, we're talking about psychology, sociology. There are so many layers to what generates violence. We have been dealing with it since humanity became humanity. And so when I look at it pragmatically, it's always going to exist. What we can do is mitigate and reduce, and through the great work of training and educating folks, we'll do that. We'll keep that number down.
Fantastic. Well, we need to wrap up. Unfortunately, I feel like I could just keep talking to you forever. Matter of fact, she and I were sitting in the D.C. airport coming home from one of our fly-ins for Women for Gun Rights, and we completely missed our plane because we were so engrossed in talking about this stuff. So we're the real deal here. So.
Definitely.
So tell folks, please, Patricia, how do they follow the work that you're doing? How do they get training through your organization? How do they connect with everything that you've got going on?
So NebraskaFirearms.org is Nebraskans' gun rights organization. Membership is free. We're very much about making ourselves a resource. WomenForGunRights.org, if you're a lady, gun curious, you want to become involved, we're an absolutely amazing sisterhood, making great strides across the community. And then Incendio training, you can find me on Facebook, and through my USCCA website, USCCA and Incendio, you'll find me.
That is amazing. Thank you for all you are doing. My goodness. I mean, I feel like with all of that, I should be sitting with 5 or 6 people. So I love, and you make it look easy. And I'm just so grateful that you're out there doing what you do. So everybody stick around. And first of all, connect with this lady online. Follow her on social media. Follow Women for Gun Rights on social media, Nebraska Firearms Owners Association. And stick around, because we have got so many amazing interviews coming straight to you from fabulous Las Vegas. And until then, stay safe and be good to each other. Have a great week, and God bless.